Hey, readers and listeners, welcome to the fourth episode of HCTV. I'm Tuan Tran.
I'm Sophia Gandola.
I'm Catherine Armitage.
I'm Dustin Schumann.
I'm Gio Contini.
I'm Shania Patrick.
And we are your hosts.
This is HCTV.
Hey guys, welcome to the In the News section. We've only got a couple things for you today. So the first one is that the Lenten food drive is still going on, and it's running until March 5th. Bring in any non-perishable food item and drop them off to Mrs. Lapine or Mrs. Bridges, to give back to the community during the Lent season. Color Wars points will be given to the grade with the highest average of participants. So bring in those cans.
A reminder to all the 2021 grads that your baby pictures and your grad quotes are due on March 5th.
They sure are. March 5th is the day. I just got in this other story of an Ontario woman, Maxine Olive, I think that's how you say it. She's 24 years old and she's from Belleville, Ontario. She completed the world's largest commercially available jigsaw puzzle, which is apparently 40,320 pieces. And she completed that in 150 hours. It says here, actually, that she worked on the puzzle for 16 hours a day. So, if that's a lot.
That's like working on it for like 10 days straight.
I think that's even more. Like, that's a lot.
That's all you're doing is just
16 hours. Like,
wow.
that was
crazy.
Devoted. Mm. She's actually applying to a Guinness World Record as well. So that is pretty cool.
Yeah, I would be too.
As she should.
As she should.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like during this pandemic, a lot of people, because they're at home a lot, so they picked up a lot of new hobbies and skills and stuff.
I saw the sun, and it opened up my eyes. I saw the sun.
So that's amazing that she was able to complete that puzzle in that amount of time.
It is. I mean, when you don't have much to do in the day, I mean, you may say I'm a dreamer. That's awesome.
I don't even think us group of 6 could figure that out in 150 hours.
No.
I don't think we could do that in 150 days.
I don't think we could just do it ever.
I mean, eventually, I'm sure it would be done. Maybe.
Like, what is it a picture of? I want to know
that's
that.
A lot. Yeah, I don't know. That is interesting. Jigsaw puzzle. I don't even know what that means. So that is pretty cool. Oh, characters from Disney animated movies. You know what? I'm pretty sure that we would do that because who does not love Disney? Right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Right?
And of course it's Disney because it's everywhere.
Of course. That's
so guys,
impressive.
So guys, we've been in school for a couple weeks now, and we're halfway through Module 5, or past halfway through Module 5. So when we came back in January, there's a lot of changes and updates to the school, right? And one of them was shortening the school hours, right? So instead of starting at 8:10, we now started at 10, right? So in my tech classes, we do this thing where we would get in a circle, like pre-COVID, we'd get in a circle, and then we would get to know each other. And one of the questions was, if you could change one thing about the school, what would it be? And I know from my experiences from those, a lot of students said, push back the start time, like an hour, 2 hours, right? So now that it finally happened, what do you guys think about that? Do you think it benefits students, or it doesn't? Or do you find yourself sleeping later, or getting more sleep during school and being less tired?
People are probably going to disagree with me on this, but no, I like waking up earlier to go to school. And one big factor is breaks during school, because we only have a 20-minute break, and that's barely enough time for me to socialize and eat. And I know it's the same for a lot of other people. And I know we get more time in the morning, but I think I'd rather have that extra time at school as in the form of a break, and socializing with your friends and eating, and because I know I normally just eat my lunch at home when I get home.
I also agree with Gio, except for the fact that now that school's starting later, I find myself going to bed at later times. So I don't want to reveal my sleep schedule, but it's pretty bad. But waking up is difficult, and I think I would rather the entire day of school, to be honest.
Sophia, you can't really reveal a sleep schedule if you don't have one.
Oh,
Just gonna put that.
He's got a point.
Yeah,
He's got a
yeah.
point.
yeah.
True. It's all over the place. It's all over the place.
No, yeah, I know. Especially for us being in school, like throughout our elementaries and like, first couple years of high school, we've always had that schedule to like wake up at 8 a.m., and head to school. But now it's like pushed back to 10, and it feels like everything's all like,
Like there's some pluses and minuses to that for sure.
Yeah.
I find that I prefer, I don't know what I prefer, to be honest, because when it was earlier, I felt more like rushed to get ready and all that. But it was good to get up in the morning earlier, to feel that like need to get up and all that. But now that it's pushed back, I feel like I have more time to get ready in the morning, and it's more like a slow, gradual getting ready for the day.
Mhm.
So I don't know what I prefer, but I can definitely see the pros and cons of each.
Well, think of this too. Think of the teachers. They only have like 3.5 hours a day to teach our things, and we're in cohorts as well.
Yeah.
Like, imagine how many like units and how many like exercises and learning things they had to take out because we're only here for 3.5 hours. And I would actually rather be at school for longer, because I actually like learning during school. I know some kids would probably just like sleep through their entire classes, but for me, I like learning, and I like, having that ability to be like, okay, yeah, I get that. But I feel like it's more rushed almost that we only have 3.5 hours.
I really like how as soon as not Twan, sorry. I really like how how Gio said, as soon as Gio said sleeping through class, Twan went.
No, I haven't done that.
Mhm.
Actually,
He said, mhm.
No.
Liar. Oh my
No,
god.
I have. Okay. It wasn't during anything important though, okay?
Oh, okay. Fun fact. So in elementary school, I slept through French class by accident because I wasn't feeling well. This was like years ago. Like I was in grade 4.
Tu no bon. Oh.
And then my teacher was like, Gio, are you okay? And I'm like, no, can I go home? And they're like, yeah, okay. And I just wasn't feeling good. So I slept through class, because like I never sleep through class. Like I never even doze off. And then my teacher was like, okay, just go home. You're not feeling well.
Come
So
on,
I went home.
Gio. Come on, man. Come
But I
on,
mean,
man.
there are those days where it's like cold and quiet, and your classroom's like nobody's like paying attention, and then you're just there
like-
sitting, and you're like, why not?
Yeah.
I'm not going to
I'm
agree
kidding.
to that.
Don't
Not
don't
gonna
sleep during
agree to
class,
that.
you guys.
No,
No, don't sleep during class. It's not a good thing.
Watch us get in
Don't do
trouble
that.
for talking about this.
Nope.
Yeah, but I with the school being pushed back, and we only have, I feel like, I don't know, it feels rushed, right? Because we only have 11 days in total in school,
Mhm.
and with time being shortened for school, it feels like a lot of like teachers, like I know teachers are struggling trying to get like everything like condensed into like 11 days where they can teach. in
It's
person.
hard.
Yeah, it's hard, and and for the students as well, with the amount of homework and course load, granted it's only like one class, but it's it's 22 days for one period, and that's quite a bit of information to like retain and to
I think that's something that like you could argue like in favor of pushing the school days back later is the idea that like students will get more sleep, and then that'll improve their brain function and they'll perform better at school. And there like have been studies that do show that, but I think that now students are still getting the same amount of sleep because
Because we're just going to bed later.
They're sleeping later, and so they're still getting the same amount of hours of sleep because they think they can wake up earlier, so they sleep later. So I think that kind of
Yeah,
defeats the whole purpose.
Earlier, I like when we had like school start at 8:10, I like went to bed at a good time, and like it was
Mhm.
every night. But now I just like it's kind of around the same time, but I feel like it's like looser.
I
Like it's
felt
less pressure
better.
to go to bed.
Like,
So what do you prefer though, Catherine?
I prefer it earlier just because
Mhm.
it was like a scheduled routine. Like I went straight to school and it was more time to learn. But I don't mind right now.
Yeah, like it's still good, the pushback time, but I would rather have the earlier time, because I even felt better. Like I felt good about myself. Oh, I went to bed consistently at like 11 every night, woke up at 6:30, and then got ready and whatever. Sophia wishes.
That's kind of funny because I can't relate.
But like I felt good going to bed at like a strict time. And then on days like on the at-home days, I was like, okay, this is my chance I get to sleep in. And it was almost like it was the closest enough you could get to like a real school experience.
Listen, you eating some?
No. 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 I'm not.
As he starts chewing.
Yeah, but I think for the time being and for the circumstances, I think it's the best that the school can do and for the students. So like it's not what we're used to, but I don't think it is as bad, right? It could be worse, but I think for the time being, like it's a pretty solid schedule.
Yeah. I don't know if this is like for anyone else too, but do you feel like you're almost at school for the same amount of time, even though you're not?
You
I think it's because
breaks, and you're like in class more.
You're in class more, but I feel like it's because the end time is the same as well. So we feel like, oh, our day's over at the same time, but it starts earlier, so it feels like you're there for the same. I don't know. That's just how I feel about it.
Quick question: when we were at home for that month, right, and you came back and you sat in those school chairs, did you guys feel like in pain or different?
I cracked my back. The first thing I sat down, I did a nice
crickety crack. Because like I'm used to like this comfy chair like online, but it was like, oh, now I gotta sit in the school chairs.
Yeah, I remember sitting down in those chairs and just remembering how uncomfortable it was, especially sitting in that chair for like 3.5 hours, at a time.
Oh my god! In science, some kids had to sit on a stool the entire time.
Hello, listeners. We are now moving into the story section of the podcast. How this will work is throughout the podcast, you'll hear a cheesy fictional story of our character who attends Holy Cross.
You will hear different drama, academics, and issues happening in his life. Without further ado, here's Catherine Armitage with part 2 of The Keys.
First, I'll do a little recap. Last episode, Taylor's old English teacher talked to him about her missing keys. Quickly, he realizes that the math key is missing too. The suspect? A ghost. As he is leaving school, he stumbles over a key. Oh wow, I gasped. Here is the key. I pick it up and drop it in the corner of the hallway. Hopefully, it can be found there tomorrow, or the custodian will see it. At the moment, I am unsure what room the key belongs to and if there is any more details, but that will have to wait until tomorrow. One long night later, I am back at school. I arrived at school extra early today, practically when the doors were unlocked, so that I could test the key. I walked to the corner of the hall near the math class. No shiny object. Of course not. I mean, maybe the custodian saw it? I looked around the area just to check if it had not been pushed around by other students when leaving school. That's when I noticed scuff marks. Little tiny etches were hardly noticeable, but still found scratched in the floor. It's a miracle I had noticed them, because I know immediately that this has to do with the key. I slowly followed the marks up the stairs into the very English classroom this all began with. And that is the moment our problems became a lot more solvable. A small spill of water is found directly out the door. Leading away from the etches, a small trail of water trails down the hall. It reminded me of the liquid my friend had slipped on when the ghost was haunting before. So I embarked down the hall and followed the trail, hoping to see the same figure as last time. Down the stairs and halls I go. I follow the trail until it stops, right in front of the Angus cutout. I checked around the area, and sure enough, I found 2 keys right behind the cutout. Knowing what to do, I grabbed the keys and returned them to the office. The keys are now in good hands, and my math teacher and English could finally get back into their classrooms with the original keys. Happily, I continue my day. However, one thought is prominent in the back of my mind. Although we found the keys, where was the ghost? It looks like our school ghost is relentless. That's the end of our story. Remember, Raiders, follow your plans with good intentions. Taylor made sure to not steal the keys or handle the situation purely by himself, even though that may have been more interesting for him. Do what is right. Now, I wanted to ask you guys a question. Put yourself in the ghost's place. Where would you guys hide the keys in Holy Cross?
And the lockers, because they're not able to be used right now.
That's smart.
That's
Yeah, you
true.
have to through a lot of lockers to find the one that the key's in. That's a good plan.
Yeah.
I think it's really suspicious, Catherine, that you're asking us this. Are
She
you are
wanted
you
to know
are
the
you
best
are you
hiding
planning
spot.
anything?
She's looking
No.
for places.
Are
to
you
hide
are you
them.
looking for places to hide some keys?
No,
Are you sure? Oh, the hands are up.
I'm
Okay.
very sure.
Okay.
You know,
I trust you.
You know, if
I
I
trust
were,
you.
I'm
if I were to-
innocent.
if I were to hide keys, I'd probably put it somewhere like really obvious that someone doesn't check. You know,
That's true.
like one of those spots where, like, you know, in the hallways or something that where you walk past every day, but you don't really like pay attention,
Pay attention.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, like in like the
Think of
trophy
it.
case or something.
Oh yeah, hide it in the time capsule.
That way in 20 years they'll be like,
Oh!
Yeah, I mean that would work. I don't think anyone would. Well,
in
how
like
would you open
2040
it if you
they're
didn't
just
have the
like
keys,
looking.
though?
Wait, but if you hold on, if they hide the key in there, they're probably gonna think like, oh, this is what keys used to look like. It's gonna be like completely just like inconspicuous.
I just want to see the reaction of the janitor who like realized, like, if he's still there, like in 20 years, like to open the box and realize his keys were in there.
Okay, he's like, oh, there.
Oh, that's where they went.
How did I get there?
If you were to hide the keys in the school, would it have to stay in the premises
Premises.
in the premises of Holy Cross?
Yeah, because that's
You can't just like
Yeah.
chuck it into a river.
Mm, okay, that's a good, solid question, Catherine. I gotta say, that is a very good question.
Like if
Has
we were
anyone
to
not
play it-
answered? Because I'm gonna need some time to think about this. I'm like really taking this seriously.
You know, like those carts with the Chromebooks that you put them into charge? Probably put it
Yeah.
at the bottom of the
Oh, yeah.
slot.
No, just like put them like near the charging cables because nobody charges them anyway.
Exactly. You guys remember in like elementary school how like some teachers got really mad at students because they
Oh
didn't
my
plug them in,
God,
and, like, the
yeah.
next day it would be all dead.
Yeah.
And like we used to have kids that would like stay in for recess and plug them all in because they felt bad. And then oh my God, it was a mess.
Yeah,
and
that'd
nobody
be
would
great.
charge
If-
them.
just like tie it to the charging cable and see who like gets it.
And then we all had like we actually all had individual did you guys have missing keys at your school? Like some kid would just rip off all the keys of the Chromebooks. Our teacher-
Keys. Sorry.
Okay, because my teacher would like the teachers at our school would guilt trip us and be like, St. Michael's is the worst school. That's what they said at the key repairing place. So like this school is the worst for ripping off keys. Because I don't know, I think some kid would just like keep ripping them. We still don't know who it is. So basically what we did now is we had individual Chromebooks assigned to like 2 kids or like 1 kid. And like, because we had 1 cart for 2 classes, it would be like, okay, so this Chromebook is assigned for this kid and this kid. This is assigned for this kid and this kid. So if there was a missing key, they were like, oh, it was one of you 2. Which is actually kind of smart, but at the same time, it's like, you shouldn't have to do that. Like, kids should be ripping off the keys.
So I've come up with a conclusion. I would put the keys in the tank with Angus the fish, because I'm pretty sure most of the school doesn't even realize that Angus exists.
I do. I love Angus.
So I feel like nobody would ever find them. I don't know if
the water.
Like, I feel like Angus doesn't even get fed. He kind of just like
Angus.
survives himself. He
Wait,
just-
how did he? Wait. Did
Like, does
somebody take
anyone
him
even know
during
where
the
he
months that we were
is?
not there?
He's in the hub.
Yeah, he's in
Oh,
the
really?
hub.
Angus is in the hub, yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
in the hub every day for lunch, and I have not spotted Angus once.
That was
He's
me
like,
until
I
like
took a picture
November.
with Angus. I can show you guys. I took a picture with Angus.
Man, I'm gonna take a picture tomorrow. Can you remind me?
Yeah, that was me in November. I walked in and then I looked at the shelf and there was like, oh, the Angus is still alive.
Oh, hey Angus! Like, I
How
can't
long-
even believe Angus didn't even try talking to me. Didn't even try
How
starting a
long is
little
it? Well,
combo.
he's a fish.
Yeah, a very ignorant one.
How
Angus-
dare you
How long
say
has
that
Angus been a
about
thing? Like, how long has he been in the school?
I don't know.
Angus?
Yeah, this is a long-living fish.
Angus
Big
could be the like guardians of the keys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You did a
someone
good
needs to make
job.
that into a movie.
Guardians of the Keys.
You know what's cool? You know what's cool? Did you guys know that my dad suggested the name Angus, like when they were trying to rename the mascot?
That's cool.
I think he was the one who suggested it. And then
That's
they,
cool.
yeah.
How did he come up with that?
Rename. What was the old name of the mascot?
It was just Holy Cross Raiders. They didn't have. They were their sweaters were red. They
Oh,
had
he was
like
just like a raider.
some guy on a horse, and my dad actually got it from ACDC.
Oh,
Cool.
so
Yeah.
okay. HCTV. So, who's Angus?
He's a singer, I think. Yeah, he's a singer. Angus Young. And my dad was like, okay, that name's cool. And then I guess they would just, everyone loved it.
I love it. They even have a song that's called Angus with like an exclamation mark. How cool is that?
Did you just look that up right now?
I did. I sure did. I'm doing my research. Mm-hmm. Oh, it kind of looks. Oh, it's a nice looking young man. Don't put it in
There's
the.
some-
Don't.
Dustin,
I'm sorry. Don't put that in the podcast.
is there something you want to tell us?
Justin, you realize every time you tell me not to put something in the podcast, I put it in the podcast.
You know what? That's a little. You are almost as ignorant as Angus the fish lately.
He's more ignorant than Angus.
He's got the brain of Angus
why are we
as well.
voting
No, I'm kidding. I'm
twins?
sorry.
Maybe they're like,
Whoa, what just happened?
I'm sorry.
They're
I'm
like
not gonna.
cousins.
I'm not gonna go
We
there.
were just talking about bands and then
I know.
like Twan slander like 2
No.
minutes later.
We love you, Twan. Do
No.
you guys like the podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys really like the podcast?
Yeah.
Well, you know what, guys?
What?
If you like the podcast, give us a thumbs up and subscribe because that is what we are all about. We love to hear from you. So leave a comment as well. Tell us what you like, what you don't like. Be interactive. We want to know what is good for you.
All right. Well, Justin just said my line there.
Oh, did I really? I didn't even mean to. I'm sorry. I didn't even. I'm sorry.
Oh, good. You could just keep going on to Catherine's line.
No.
That is it for this week, Raiders and guests. Make sure to follow at the Angus Army on Instagram and at HC Student Council on TikTok for more information regarding events and news.
That-
Hello?
oh god.
What happened to Twan?
I don't know. Dustin was fighting with his mic, and okay. Okay. That is it for this week, Raiders. Stay tuned for next week's
Sure
episode.
is.
Dustin.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Does it look like I have pointy shoulders?
Anyway,
Yeah. Anyways, that is it for this week's episode. Stay tuned for next week's episode with more guests and more news and more us. Stay safe and stay kind. I'm Twan Tran.
I'm Sophia Gandola.
I'm Catherine Armitage.
I am Dustin Schumann.
I'm Gio Contini.
I'm Shania Patrick.
And this has been HCTV. See you next time, listeners.
My shoulders aren't this pointy, it's just the chair, I swear.
You should.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like during this pandemic, a lot of people because they're at home a lot, so they picked up a lot of new hobbies and skills and stuff.
I saw the sun and it opened up my eyes. I saw the sun.
Okay.
Dustin, you gonna go with the news or?
Gotcha. You may say I'm a dreamer.
Army on Instagram and at HC Student Council on TikTok for more information regarding events and news.
That-
Hello?
Then it was almost like it was the closest enough you could get to like a real school experience.
Dustin, are you eating some?
No. No.
Justin, you realize every time you tell me not to put something in the podcast, I put it in the podcast.
You know what? That's a little. You are almost as ignorant as Angus the fish lately.
He's more ignorant than Angus.
He's got the brain of Angus
why are
as
you
well.
going
No, I'm kidding. I'm
on?
sorry.
Why?
Maybe they're like,
Whoa, what just
cousins.
happened?
I'm sorry.
They're
I'm
like
not gonna.
cousins.
I'm not gonna go
We
there.
were just talking about bands, and then
I know.
like Twan slander like 2
No.
minutes later.
We love you, Twan. I'm.
All right, well, Dustin just said my line there.
Oh, did I really? I didn't even mean to. I'm sorry. Geo's Nona, come now. Sorry.
All right, goodbye.
Wait, Dustin, what's a waiting room like?
Oh my gosh, is that where you put me?
I've never been there, so I
I was so confused. I thought you kicked me out, but then I was like, am I just waiting to be put back in? It was so because on your screen it's like you are waiting to be added back to the chat. And I was like, okay, am I waiting? And then it just said connecting, and I was so confused.
I didn't know how to put you back. I just clicked a bunch of random things and like.
And I made it.
Yep.
Sure
episode?
is.
Dustin,
Sorry.
Next time, listeners.
my shoulders aren't this pointy. It's just the chair, I swear.
This is HCTV.